told you I found you a perfect match. Chosen by science, but you had to marry them right this second. You would tell me, well, that sounds pretty whack. And I would add, you have 8 weeks to know if you really love them. You just got married at first sight. Jason and Aysha gonna tell you wrong from right. Are all these couples just disasters waiting to happen? Imagine if one of them could be a perfect match.
Hello and welcome to A Perfect Match, where we talk about this lovely show called Married at First Sight. I am Aysha, and I am here with my co-host, who there will be a day, there will come a day that we are no longer podcasting about Married at First Sight. And I really wanted to know if he wanted to see my dogs, Pepper and Cinnamon, once that time comes. Does he want to walk them, take them, or do you just want to visit them?
I know how you feel about Pepper and Cinnamon, so I feel like it'll be good to just visit for a minute.
Okay.
I don't want to come get them just yet, because I feel like if I came and got them, you'd be on my case every 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
How are Pepper and Cinnamon doing? Are they being good girls? So I think I'll just come and visit them.
Okay.
And see how it goes from there.
That's good. You're looking out for yourself, because I would ask you to turn on your location.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You'd be tracking us, every second. I'm sure that Pepper and Cinnamon both have trackers in their collars, or maybe you've injected them with a mini tracker or something. You people with money do all sorts of weird
part
things
of the process.
with your pets. Yeah.
Yeah, they got a little something in them from when they got their space, so I can keep track of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I didn't introduce you, Jason Reed. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm here where this is, episode 21 of the season, and we're not even 90% of the way. I don't do good on percentages. I'm not even sure how close we are. We're not close though. That's what I know. And someday, like Kirsten, we're going to be able to flip the double birds to this season and be done with it and move on someday. But the show doesn't want to let us go yet.
No, they said, hey, we want to see y'all through every season of 2023. If they could have stretched this until August, I bet you they would have.
Oh, for sure.
They said we got to hit winter, spring, summer. Let's go ahead and go into the fall. I'm surprised they haven't made up something. They're like, this is the first time you've seen Beyond Decision Day, but this will also be the first time you'll see Beyond Decision Day. Everyone is in a new relationship, and we're going to follow that for 6 weeks.
To be honest, I would just not be surprised because as of right now, we think that the second part of the reunion is the last episode of the season. I would not be shocked whatsoever if the night of the last reunion, Kevin Frazier signs off. And he's like, and don't forget, next week we get the Where Are They Now special.
Right.
6 months after Decision Day, let's see where they are now. I would not be shocked at all.
Please don't put that out there. You just gave somebody an idea if they hadn't thought of it already.
More content? What did you say? More content for this critically acclaimed season? We must have it.
Oh, gosh. Yes. So, yeah, we're here to talk about this episode. It is our first episode after Decision Day, but we did have to get like a little bit into Decision Day. So we have some stuff to talk about, but before we get into that, make sure y'all go subscribe to our Love at First Sight feed. That's where you can get all of our podcasts for A Perfect Match, as well as Love is Blind if you're catching up on season 4, as well as The Ultimatum, Queer Love, which dropped on March 24th. And Mary Kwiatkowski and I, as well as Dr. Evie Jagoda, will be talking about The Ultimatum this season. Very excited.
Can't wait to hear what you have to say about The Old Tomato.
Hey, you already know, because we basically had a mini podcast right before this talking about the first 4 episodes.
We did. Messy show. As I said to you in the pre-show, the ultimatum is probably the most convoluted concept that Netflix has ever come up with for a dating show. And as we know, we have seen Perfect Match, which is plenty convoluted in and of itself. This is even more convoluted of a concept. So I'm excited to see the three of you break it down and try and make sense of it.
It's absolutely impossible to just explain to someone. The easiest thing is just say, "Oh, they're pre-existing couples, and someone has given the other an ultimatum. Check it out."
The end.
Because if you get into the process of it all,
how do they sell the ultimatum? You don't want to know. You just got to watch it. It'll make sense to you after like 30 minutes. You'll figure it out.
Right. I will say, if you enjoy Married at First Sight, you will enjoy the ultimatum. And it's a quick watch because they're dropping 4 episodes at a time, and it's only 3 weeks of drops. Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, messy people making bad decisions. What else do you need to know? Like that's what that's what you're here for. That's what probably, if you like this, you will like ultimatum, because again, messy people making bad decisions. What else do you need? This is a genre at this point.
Exactly. So yes, please make sure you subscribe. If you are subscribed to Love at First Sight feed, you will see those ultimatum podcasts drop. And make sure you leave us a 5-star rating or review. And we would love to shout you out on the podcast. We have a few this week, so I can read a couple. Have we read the vibe?
We've got 2 brand new ones.
Really?
You're giving us more credit than we deserve.
I was reading. You sure? The one that says another reviewer said that no one's doing it better. Did we read that one?
I don't think we did not read that one.
Okay.
But we have, in total, this is live on the podcast show. We did not talk about this before, in case you couldn't figure that out. Yes, so we have 3 new ones.
Okay, 3.
Shout out to Marissa G, who we talked about last episode, did update her stars. So thank you, Marissa.
Appreciate you.
To 5. So if you want to do The Vibes Are Immaculate, I'll do Love This Podcast. Okay, how about that? We're doing it live, folks. We're doing it live.
And you want to also do the Canadian review?
No, we'll save that for next week in case we need to save one in the chamber.
Okay, there was an amazing Canadian review that we have read already, and we really appreciate you. So we will shout you out next week. This is from Lauren Works. The title is The Vibes Are Immaculate. Another reviewer said that nobody's doing it like the Perfect Match podcast, and I agree wholeheartedly. I've been watching the show since season 1, but just discovered this podcast a few episodes into the season, and truly my life changed for the better. Wow. I always look forward to listening to their hilarious banter and excellent takes.
Oh my gosh, we're out here changing lives?
I know.
Oh my goodness.
One unnecessary episode at a time.
I'm telling you, we are here doing the Lord's work, doing the good stuff for humanity. We're gonna go to heaven because of this podcast, Aysha. You don't realize.
Yeah, very true.
The review I want to shout out is from a username. It's just G, a bunch of O's, and Y. Goy, maybe, I don't know. It's just entitled Love This Podcast. I absolutely love this podcast. I look forward to listening every week after watching the show. The hosts make watching MAFS so much more fun. Thank you for all your hard work. I mean, you didn't say we changed your life, but it's good. It's still good.
It's a party over here, y'all. Mm-hmm. We're making this. We're trying to make this a good time.
Send it to Lifetime. Send all these things to Lifetime. Let them know that we are out here making their show so much better. They need to get us on the after party. If you want to put me on one hosted by Jamel Hill, I will take it.
You would not complain. Okay,
I would not.
So yes, thank y'all so much for those reviews. If you want to get a shout out on the podcast, leave us a 5-star rating and review, and we will shout it out. Also, we are having a great time on our Facebook page. Look up A Perfect Match Podcast on Facebook and come join the fun. We are having a lot of dynamic conversation right now.
It's hopping in there right now. It's jumping off.
It really is. People have some very strong opinions in both directions of a specific couple that we will get into. So it's definitely some good discourse. I do really enjoy seeing people explain their view when I don't get it.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to understand.
What
I
are
like,
you seeing that I'm not seeing? We
what
watch
am
the same
I
show, right?
missing? Right. And then when people explain, I'm like, okay, I can get how you have come to that conclusion,
Mhm.
but I can't say that I've come to the same conclusion.
Yeah,
You
we
know?
watch the same thing,
Yes.
but it's not just how I saw it.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, hey,
Exactly.
it's a lot of fun, and it really adds to the experience of. I mean, the podcast already adds the experience of watching the show. If you want to add to the experience of watching the show, then listen to the podcast. Go to the Facebook group because that adds even more to the experience of watching MAFS, I think.
Yeah. So if you want to join the Facebook group this week, the password is
deadbolt the door. We closing the door and we're locking it tight. You're not coming back in. I don't care how bad you want to get back in. Certain person we're talking about that we'll get to.
I don't care how married we still are.
No, I don't care. I don't care if you think you're gonna breeze back in the door. I'm locking it. I'm triple locking it. I'm getting 3 locks on the door. It's over.
It's done.
Certain person named same name as a famous basketball player that we won't mention, but we'll
Steph?
get to. Yeah. So Steph on the show. No Jason Tatum on the show.
There's no Clay.
LeBron?
Kawhi, for sure. There has been a Michael.
True, very true.
Yeah.
The famous guy, Eris, the basketball player.
Right. Exactly. Hey, Chris, it was right there. How do we miss it?
I do not know any famous basketball players named Chris.
Chris Paul.
Oh yes, Chris Paul. Listen,
You never hear it, just Chris.
No, I'm not a basketball watcher. That's one thing I have to tell you. But
you're too into football to watch basketball.
Oh yeah, I'm too obsessed with football. I do check out the finals, which I do know are coming up. I have seen some games this season of the playoffs, but I don't know really what's going on or who I'm rooting for. I'm just watching because sometimes I don't have anything else to watch, and that's just what happens. But I do usually tune into the final, like the last game or so, just to,
just for fun,
just to check it out. Yeah, just for fun. But yeah, I am too in depth with football to really see anything else.
You really are. Because I would say where you're like a basketball casual, I'm like a football casual. Basketball is.
Oh, I'm aware from running a fantasy football team with you this past season. About halfway into the season, are we winning any games? What are we doing? How are we doing?
How does this work? I was very upfront that was my first time ever in life doing fantasy football. But I did recently find out from my brother that fantasy is a thing with the NBA and the WNBA. So I need to explore that.
At this point, fantasy is running every single, TV show, sport, anything you can think of has a fantasy league to it.
They need to do that for the upcoming season of The Bachelorette. Charity. I'm very excited for her. The promos have been amazing, but we've gotten off track.
Yes, I like as we do.
Yeah, naturally. I will say, I did miss you in New York, and I did appreciate and enjoy everyone I met out there. It was an amazing experience. I realized I was in New York for less than 36 hours, less than 30 hours. It was not even. It was like a day and a little bit, a day and some change.
Listen,
but I had a great time.
The FOMO was very intense as I saw all my friends gather together, just socializing with Survivor players, seeing all of the final 3 of Survivor in the same room with them. Oh my gosh. I had to turn my phone off. I had to block all my friends. I had to just stay away from Twitter for a while. Just to avoid the feeling of missing out.
Yeah, okay. It was amazing, and I went with one of our favorite guests, Mari Forth, and I will say, so in the Facebook group every week we have a thread where we talk about the show. I told her at brunch, I said I need to remember to do the thread right before Survivor starts to do the thread for Married at First Sight. I was like, if you remember, tell me. And then as we were walking to the venue, it's still a few hours before the show, I was like, I need to remember to do the thread. And then I got to the party and I was having the time of my life.
Just partying your face off. You're like, perfect match, what? Married at First Sight, who? I don't care.
So thankfully, we have some very committed Facebook group members who got the threads going.
I mean, I was just at home chilling up.
You have no excuse.
I have no excuse. I think I even posted because here was my Wednesday night, right? Because I mean, Wednesday night was popping off because for those that don't follow Survivor, that the Survivor finale is a big part of our world because we're
we love
affiliated with this
TV.
network.
Yeah.
It's how we all came together. It's how we all met basically through Survivor, and so that's a big night for us. So I did watch MAFS UK, the 2 episodes because they come on at 6. So I let that run into the 8 o'clock hour. After MAFS UK, I watched Shaq's decision.
Mm-hmm.
After I picked my jaw up off the floor, then I started watching Survivor. I just watched Shaq's decision and then watched Survivor.
Smart.
And saved the whole episode for today.
Smart.
Yeah, I posted in the Facebook group after I watched Shaq's decision. Didn't think to start the thread. I just posted in the Facebook group about Shaq's decision.
Yeah, I will say I do genuinely avoid, if I'm not watching the episode live, I will avoid comments in the Facebook group until I'm watching live so I can like kind of react live as I'm watching. But I had to know what Shaq said, so I went in there. And well, I realized I had to know what Shaq said about 30 minutes into the episode. I was like, wait, I want to know what Shaq said.
When you gave a momentary thought to Married at First Sight.
I was like,
I mean, I got my phone. I gotta see what Shaq says because you were done at that point. I'm sure.
Like, hey, wait! All amazing Survivor players I'm meeting. Wait,
you're taking a picture. You're taking a picture of the Survivor person. Like, oh crap! I forgot to find out about Shaq. Hold on. Let me check.
I love that
they were
you
like
just
Shaquille
think I was
O'Neal?
Belligerent.
They were like Shaquille O'Neal. Like, no. It's somebody on Married at First Sight. You wouldn't know them. You wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't understand at all. So anyway, let's get started about this episode. So
17 minutes in.
We kicked it off with Shaq's decision because for some reason they did not feel that we needed that last week.
I gotta say, after what happened, I would say effective.
Oh, you're like fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as we know, Kirsten said yes last week, and then this week they continue with Shaq explaining. And last week, Jason and I predicted there's no way. He says yes. Obviously, they're tricking us. Why would they?
Get us? You're not gonna get us.
Fool us this time.
Yeah.
16 seasons in, we know you. Well, Shaq says it's been difficult to step up as a man, but he's honestly not settled with them. His eyes are red. His eyes are welling up. He's about to start crying. And then he says, I want to get a divorce.
I literally was just like, what?
Yes.
Are you serious right now?
I was like, wait, what did you just say?
I don't know why I was so shocked, but I was very surprised.
Yeah. And my thing is, well, let me finish with his explanation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the experts are shocked. I mean, Pastor Cal is beside himself.
Dr. Pepper is near tears.
I have never seen her cover her face
Never.
at the decision day.
I said, as shocked as I am, Dr. Pepper's about to like walk into the lake and just end it all. I was like, oh my gosh, Dr. Pepper, are you okay?
And it's hilarious because they showed more emotion in that moment than Kirsten did.
Yeah.
But I have more to say on that later. So the experts are shocked, okay? Kirsten was like, okay. He said he feels alone and there's times he needed her and she wasn't there. And it's just been very hard. And every day he's shown up. And he tried to get her to let her guards down. And he doesn't think anything will ever be good enough.
So I'm going to stop you right there, Aysha. Shaquille is the one saying it's never good enough. When Shaquille, this whole season, it's never been good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Anything she does is never been good enough. He has the nerve and the unmitigated gall to say it was never good enough for her. Please continue. I'm sorry. I just had to stop you.
That irony was not lost on me. He says he doesn't think there's anything more he could do to show her that he's been there for her since day one. And that's when Dr. Pepper covered her face. He said he hopes she respects her decision. He hopes that she respects his decision. And she was like, well, it takes more than 8 weeks. And I've given you chances to show up for me during this marriage. And I wish we could have explored this more. And I wish you the best. And I hope you get everything in life. And I hope everything in life works out for you the way that you want it to work out. And Pastor Cal's like, this is not what we were hoping for. And Dr. Pepper said, I got to be honest, I'm shocked. And I'm just sorry. I am sorry. And he says that this decision came from the heart. And we get a confessional. And he says this decision came from the heart. And his heart was heavy. And he didn't feel like they could be together for a lifetime. And then they cut to Kirsten in a confessional. She said, are you effing serious right now?
She said, can you believe this right now? That's what she's like.
I should be the one crying.
This man just said no to me. And then he gonna cry about it? She meant business in this moment.
Absolutely.
Her whole demeanor changed.
Yes.
And you know, in the moment, I give Kirsten the credit because she was comforting him as he's, you know, boohoo crying. She's like rubbing his back, like as he is breaking up with her in the moment. But I think it hit her. It was just like
wait a second. He was crying all while he was saying all of this stuff.
This mother.
So she says, good luck. So here's my thing. Yes, I'm shocked by his no. But it doesn't mean that I think that they should be together. I do think that they are incompatible in a lot of ways. However, my issue is his reasoning for why he's saying it should be over. Like, even later in the episode, he says the main thing he misses from marriage is having someone to go to sleep with and wake up. He's like, that was the one constant, is we were always there to go to sleep and wake up with each other. But yet you're saying when he needed her, she wasn't there. Can you please give me receipts past Memphis?
Are there any receipts past Memphis? Like, are we missing something? Are we not getting some key point of information? Because all that we have seen is the one time she wasn't there for him was the Memphis trip. That's what we keep hearing about. That's what's kept being talked about. I just have to know if there's something else we're not being told. Because if it's not, then this is utterly ridiculous.
Absolutely.
And it's just, you know, he has asked so much of her. And I feel like to this point, she has delivered on what he wants. He wants her to go to every school function. She says, fantastic. I'll put it in my calendar. I'll be there for you. He says,
no.
I want you to want to be there. It's not good enough that you said you're going to be there. I want you to want to be there. Why would I want to be there? To watch you talk to high schoolers. Okay, I will be there because I want to support you. I don't want to be there. That's ridiculous. He wants to meet dad. He meets dad, but it's too late. It's too late.
It's decision week. Yeah, are you kidding me? You want me to be like that man, and I just met him. How can I be like him in a week?
He kept moving the goalposts, and for me, sorry, it's also about how he was acting on decision day or the day before decision day as he was leaving. All cuddled up and hugged and kissed on her. And then to just come in here and drop this bomb on her, because I truly don't think she was expecting that at all. I think she was totally expecting a yes, judged by the fact that the looks on her face as she is hearing him say these different things that he's talking about. I'm not sure I can give you what you want, the charmed life that you want, I think is what his exact words were. She's like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, I think this was a bomb dropped, and I think, as she said, it takes more than 8 weeks. I think in their situation where there was good along with the bad,
Mm-hmm.
because honestly, I think they could be a good match. I just think they got in their own heads, and I do think if they had, as people have said, the cameras and the pressure taken away, they should have seen how that was going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like a Clinton Gina, yeah, not going to
Absolutely not.
work.
Yeah.
Cut it out. A Jasmine and Eris, yeah, not going to work. Cut it out. But a Kirsten and Shaq, I think, could have thrived with the nonsense taken away. And Shaq let the nonsense of, this is a decision day and you need to decide now whether or not you're going to spend the rest of your life together. He admitted as much in the after party.
Mm-hmm.
That he says, well, I thought it's a decision day. I thought I had to make a decision of whether I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. Like, no, sir, this is an arbitrary date that's been brought to you by this show of 2 months. It could have been 3 months.
Right.
It could have been 4 months. Just whatever the creator of the show decides to do at any given moment, whatever number came out of his head or her head at that moment would be the decision day date.
Mm-hmm.
They just picked 2 months out of the air. And now you're basing your whole rest of your life off of the arbitrary decision of the creator of the show. That doesn't make any sense, sir. You're a clown. You wore the clown suit and you are a clown.
And it's like all of his reasonings were based on his assumptions of her expectations of him.
Mm-hmm.
It was like things that you would expect her to say. Like, or like, oh, I don't think that you could provide for me, or I don't think that, all of, I don't think that you're good enough.
I just wonder, are we missing something, or are we seeing the same things that Shaq is seeing, where he's like, in that house, you expect me to buy that house, you expect me to get you a Lamborghini, like I can't live up to those expectations. No one's asking, though, to any lofty expectations. I just don't see that. I don't see Kirsten doing that. I see that you both probably want near the same thing. She may want to raise children and maybe quit her career and have you provide for the family. I don't know. I just don't know where his reasoning is about these lofty expectations that she has. I don't understand.
Yeah, and I mean, and he admits as such about that too on after parties, that he got in his head. He got in his own head about all of these different things, and then he realized it too late, and realized, oh, at this point, I've already made the decision.
Yeah,
and so,
and I mean, as they're walking away, past, like, Dr. Pepper is like, how much does this guy need? Like, what else does he need? And Pastor Cal says he's not going to get any better than that. Yeah. And I agree with Pastor Cal. Yeah. I don't think you're going to find many women out there that are going to acquiesce to what Shaq has wanted in terms of, I need you to be everywhere I am at every minute of the day, and who is willing to put up with your nonsense, because Shaq has had a lot of nonsense moments in this season. Let's be real. I mean, they both have, but he, more often than not, has been the nonsense person in the duo.
Yeah.
And for her to say, I'm willing to put up with your what she says are your big emotions and your Shaq's expectations. We should be talking about Shaq's expectations, not Kirsten's. Shaq has very high, lofty expectations for his wife, and I think Kirsten was willing to try and rise up to that challenge. But Shaq, apparently, it's too much for him for her expectations. He can't do the same thing she's trying to do.
Yeah, and my face right now isn't disgust at Shaq. It's disgust at the fact that one of my dogs just decided to pass gas, and it's just
nice.
Oh, it is. It's a scent.
I don't have to worry about that here. Just
and I don't even know which one it is. Yeah. But yes, I think so. My issue here is, and I've seen a variety of opinions from our Facebook group to Twitter I've seen people believe that Kirsten is acting.
Yeah.
And they think that she's trying to play victim, that she said yes, knowing that he'd say no, so that she could play victim, be the woe is me, play the woe is me card. I believe she's acting, but not in that way. I believe she's trying to put on, I am more than okay, when truly she is hurt that this did not, she wanted where she came from to where she is today. She actually grew a liking, not actually like it was impossible, but the more she learned about him, the more she committed to this marriage, she could see potential for this going beyond decision day, which is why she said yes.
And I think because in reality, I think their values very much align. Right? I think they, share the same religious values. I think they share the same outlook for a family, for what they want as a family. So I think in that way they are compatible. I think where they diverge, maybe their personalities, but I think Kirsten was willing to work on it. She really wanted this to work out, as you said.
Yeah. I mean, because even on After Party, she said she learned, or no, not on After Party, but on later in the episode, she says that she learned how to consider other people's feelings. Like she was genuinely like, that wasn't, oh, I don't care about you, Shaq, so I'm just disregarding your feelings. It's like, no, I have never had to operate in that way and actually be considerate of somebody else's feelings. So I'm learning that from you, and I'm learning how to do that because I've never had to do that in either a committed relationship or at home, like growing up in her family life, because of, and I just feel like he needed, and I guess he didn't realize this before decision day, was they could literally be in-depth learning each other for a lifetime. There is always something new to know. And it's just like he thought that they had to cover the bases of like a year of a relationship in 2 months. And if they couldn't do that, if they went at a normal pace that you would go at in 2 months, then this isn't it. Then we're not soulmates. And it's
He
just
wanted
like,
that. He wanted a perfect person out of the oven. He wanted that trophy wife. He wanted someone that was going to be, for lack of a better word, submissive to him, to, just be his wife. And he wants someone that his wife is going to be her whole personality, her whole being. And that's not Kirsten. Kirsten has hear her tell it, a successful career. She is, I think, didn't he even say at one point she's strong-willed or something like that?
Independent.
Right,
Yeah.
independent. And I think Shaq wants someone that is going to just fall in line with what he wants, going to show up to all his little events. But I don't know if that person is going to be able to really challenge Shaq in the way that he needs to be challenged. He wants everything in one that is kind of impossible. So I think Kirsten was as close as you're going to get. I think he's going to be real sorry when in a year from now, he's still single and he could have been with Kirsten. I agree with Cal. He's not going to get any better than that.
Yeah, I do feel, I guess now that you say that, and so I do feel that they were matched well, but I feel like with considering how they are currently, like the faults of Kirsten and the fact that, she isn't naturally empathetic, or she doesn't always like read the room correctly in terms of like him, like the Memphis trip, which is the only thing I can reference. But then also with him and his insecurities about stepping up to be the man that she wants or that she is saying that she needs. But if she's saying yes, she's not saying yes, but please say no. I'm saying yes, but I want you to say no because I don't think you could do it.
That means you are matching up to the expectations, or she thinks that you can get to the point where you're matching her expectations.
Right.
You've already gotten the green light.
Potential. I see something past this.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, and as far as the Kirsten acting bit, I do think Kirsten puts on somewhat of an act because she wants a positive image of herself and the relationship. Because there have been times where Shaq has been brutally honest when they're talking to an expert or they're talking to one of their friends or family. She's like, why are you telling them this? Like, I don't want
Mm-hmm.
them to know how, like, if we're struggling. So I do think there is a bit of that. Kirsten wants to portray a good, positive image, but I don't think it goes as far as to be this manipulative
Yeah, she's this
villain
mastermind who's
who
just
needs
fooling us all.
who needs a daytime Emmy for how manipulative and conniving she is. I don't think it goes that far. I think she really digs Shaq now. I think she really could see him being her husband for the long haul.
Yeah.
I
And
think
I
I don't think they had any problems that could not be worked out if they got to a place of positive communication and actually listening, which I think was certainly within their grasp. I don't think
right.
this is a Gina Clint Eris Jazz situation. I think they had issues that could have been solved if they kept working at it.
Right. And that's why the experts were so done or so bummed. Like
Mm-hmm.
they didn't act this way when Jasmine and Eris said no, and they did
Yeah.
not act this way when Clint and Gina said no.
They,
they,
they acted like somebody had just been like killed in front of them. They were like,
like,
what? What are you? No. But Peppers is like shielding her eyes. Like she can't take it. She's like, oh my God.
they get up, start flipping couches. What do you
Yeah.
mean no?
What are you talking about? Sit down, Shaq. We're gonna do this one more time, and you're gonna say the right thing this time.
This is
No, we're
our
gonna take it
second
again.
best.
We're gonna take it again.
This is
You
our
better say
second
what you're supposed
best
to say,
pairing
Shaq.
this season.
Sit down. Like I honestly feel like they had some type of bonus tied into a 50% success rate.
Yes.
They're like, no.
Lifetime.
You know how much you just cost us?
Lifetime said, y'all get 50% yeses this season, or there will not be a season 17. Okay?
No. They had my family held hostage. And if you said no, they were gonna kill them. Lifetime is keep my family hostage. If we don't get 50%, they're gonna kill my family. Yeah, they definitely did not take it well. They took it very hard.
They did. And when I realized that we have one couple who said yes, I was just like, what is happening here? Why is this?
It's kind of par for the course. Honestly.
It really is, which is
sad. Yeah, very sad.
Like the success, all of this work to get one couple, and it's just like, what? And the reason that it's so disappointing with Kirsten and Shaq specifically is that they could have stood a chance had they had expert guidance throughout the way.
Oh yeah.
Like not just give us 3 check-ins across the 8 weeks.
And even like visits that were too late. Like, oh, y'all been having problems for 4 weeks. Oh, now we're gonna pop in and talk to y'all about your problems. No, these are now deep-seated problems. You need to get these people early in the process to talk about this stuff and be there. Shoot, I don't know. Do you think we should see experts every week? See one expert a week. How would you feel about that?
I think one a week is good. And they don't even have to see every couple, because I think that's where they overcommit themselves. They're like, if we're doing an expert visit, we have to do every couple, and that probably takes up a full day, working around everybody's schedule, all the production crews. But if you just commit to, we're gonna make sure we address one couple each of these episodes, then surely you would make your rounds enough.
I mean, honestly, if we go ahead and expand the roster to these 4 experts that we've been seeing these past couple seasons, I honestly don't think it's too much to ask to have one expert come in and talk, and they can talk to every couple. I think even if you're a successful couple, you should have some expert talk.
I mean, I'm trying to ask for the least amount possible so something can happen.
Yeah. I just think if you had a rotation, if you had a Pepper comes one week, Cal comes the next, Devon comes one week, Pia comes one week, I don't think that's too much to ask at all.
We only got Dr. Pia once this season.
Yeah. And
Devon once.
Yep. I hate to, bring in the international versions, but that format is great. They sit down, every week and talk to the experts. The experts look over their game tape and give their critiques and give their advice. I think that's a great format to work with. And I don't know I think they should do that. I don't. What Pepper and Cal, like what else are y'all doing? Like I don't see you anywhere else but
Busy.
here.
Well,
What's
didn't
going
Dr.
on?
Pepper write a book recently?
Yeah. Whatever. You can do that anywhere. Out of here.
How many books have you written, Jason?
I have several unpublished manuscripts. I'll have you know.
Got it.
Mostly of Power Rangers fan fiction, but they're still in book form.
Well, we're going to proceed. Well, more on Shaq and Kirsten later, but we are going to go through chronologically. It's just not that much with everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we get a progression. We get 1 day after decision day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. And I think the max is 4 days. So 1 day after decision day, we get Nicole and Chris in bed. They're talking about how they said yes, and they're like, we think we can predict what the other couples say. But then ultimately, we don't get a sit down where they actually announce what they said, like we have in past seasons. We got a group thing at the end, but they already knew what they said at that point.
The editing of this episode was really odd, right? Because before the group hang, we do get Nicole and Kirsten hanging out.
Yeah.
So obviously they know. But then we get to the group dinner. It's like, okay, so what everybody
What's
say?
the
As
announcement?
if they don't know. Now, Nicole did mention that the production did not want them speaking to each other to find out what they said.
Before decision day.
Oh, it was before decision day.
Yeah, because she
or
was
they
like,
were going to say.
Yeah, because she was like,
okay.
If she had known Shaq was wavering, she would have tried to change his mind.
Yeah, so that makes even less sense. It's like, why? Because the group dinner is 4 days after decision day, which was
like you're
gonna act like you don't know.
Yeah, y'all have texted. You know.
Yeah.
So we have a Well, we get different scenes of each of the couples moving out. So. Since everyone besides Nicole and Chris are no longer together. So we get Jasmine and Eris moving out. They're packing up. Eris comes in. He's like, y'all packed? And she's like, I'm working on it. And she's like, this house, it was starting to feel like a home, but I'm getting a little sad because like we were getting in the groove of things. And Eris is like, yeah, like I was starting to recognize people out here. I was making friends with the neighbors. Nothing to do with him and Jasmine.
Nothing.
He's like, I was starting to make friends with the neighbors.
Everything to do with everything but you, I was enjoying.
Right. I was getting used to it. The security downstairs loved him.
Oh, Miss Otis, a security guard. That's my best bud.
Yeah. She says she's excited to start over, but it's like in a good way. And Eris was like, I guess I'm starting over. I mean, it's only been 2 months. It's not like we have a kid.
Eris pulled his pants down to show his entire ass last episode, and he has yet to pull his pants up. He's like, what's the big deal? It's not like we have a kid or something.
It's just 2 months.
You're just some person I met 2 months ago. Big deal.
He might as well said, I've had situationships longer than that.
Yeah, big deal. Well, I don't care. You're just another person to me.
Yeah. He's like, I'll forget about this 2 months and 3 months. So she says in a confessional, she's like, the only thing she'd do differently is to speak up and say how she's feeling in the moment, which she feels like she's already starting to do. He asked her if he can come visit Duchess. She's like, okay, yeah, I wouldn't mind you coming taking her sometimes. He's like, take her. I meant visit.
Whoa. You are like normal. You are reading the wrong signals. I
did not nobody say take.
I do not want to take care of this dog. I want to pull up to your house. You open the door and I see the dog and I wave to it. I might come up to the door and pet the dog and then leave. But we ain't talking about no get.
He said take. Who said take?
Ain't nobody say that. Back up.
Like, first of all, Eris, you're the one that brought this up unprompted.
Right.
She didn't say anything about you and Duchess.
Meanwhile, Duchess is like, do we have to? Do we have to, Mom?
She's like, I don't want to see this man. So then we get a confessional with him, and he doesn't have any regrets. He does say he would have tried to be open a little bit sooner, but he says they mutually agreed to it's best to just remain friends. And then they do this dramatic, like leaving their keys, leaving their rings on the table,
More on
and
that
walking
later.
out.
More on the rings later.
Right. So then we get to Gina moving out. Gina's comes back to the apartment with Hank, and Clint is like packing up. Hank runs up to Clint like he hasn't seen Clint in 6 months.
Dad! Where have you been? You left me with her for over 12 hours. You know how torturous that is? Hank was
He was
elated.
so excited to
jump all over the place. Like, where have you been? I miss you so much, Daddy.
If I've ever seen a dog love somebody, which, you know, every time I see Pepper and Cinnamon.
Oh my gosh, here we go.
That was the epitome of love. Hank loves Clint.
Miss you so much. She didn't pet me. She just stared at her phone all night. I was so lonely.
He's such a big boy. All that hair. Oh, he was so excited to see Clint. And Clint was very excited to see him.
Mm-hmm.
We get a confessional from Gina. She says she feels like her life has changed for the better. She didn't realize like she was as strong as she was to get through things like this. She tells Clint that she's going out of town, and she asks, like, do you mind keeping Hank for a little while?
This is very different from the last season where we got Kirsten saying, oh, maybe you can watch when I go out of town.
Yeah.
And Mitch be like, yeah, sure. Clint's like, seriously?
There's nothing in the world I want more.
Yeah, I'll take him. No problem. Of course.
And so to contrast all these like lessons learned from like these relationships, from Clint, we get a confessional that he has learned that his love for having a dog, like he has grown in his love for having a dog. Like having a dog as a companion, like that's what he needs in his life. And so
I found out I need to get a dog.
Yeah. Which, Clint, I don't blame you, man. So they leave their keys, they leave their rings, and they head out. They're done with this apartment. Then we head over to Shaq. He's packing up. His friend Bryson calls on the phone. And he's on the phone with Bryson. He's like, yeah, man, like, seems like Kirsten has already moved out. Like, all of her stuff is gone.
Kirsten got in her car right after decision day, drove to the apartment, got her stuff, and left. He is lucky his stuff is still there, okay? And she did not pull a waiting to exhale on his ass, okay? He is lucky his stuff is untouched. It's still there.
Right. He's like, I really hope she doesn't have any hard feelings. Cue a flashback of Kirsten leaving the apartment. She puts up 2 middle fingers to the apartment as she's leaving and walking out.
Bam, 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 all over the place. To all this. Just chucked up the birds. I said, this is the best editing moment of the season.
It was. I hope she's not mad.
The only thing that would have been better if she had just taken a picture of Shaq and just ripped it, in a camera view. Like, that was so fantastic. Great job, MAFS editors. Kudos to you on that.
I'm sorry. I would feel the exact same way, because if you put yourself in Kirsten's shoes, Miss walls as high as can be, slowly breaking them down to the point, like brick by brick.
She's about to take one of those bricks and smack Shaq in the face with it.
Gets to the point of wanting to say yes on decision day, to just see potential of this marriage past decision day. And then this man pulls a
Nope. You thought you had me. Nope.
Right.
I
just wasted my time investing in you.
And this is as we like to quote, this is the real Kirsten. Okay. Yeah. She is like, I'm sick of this man and all his BS. Like, I don't think the Kirsten that we have known throughout the season, I don't think we ever would have seen flipping the double bird to anything or anyone.
Right, because she wouldn't like she wants to present that like everything is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And see, and I think that that's where we share the opinion for people that think that she's fake because she puts on this persona of like, I'm wanting to present that like this is great. As a real estate agent, I'm going to present that this is the best house for you ever, you know? And like, but the thing is, I don't think she is doing it to be manipulative that she just hates Shaq and doesn't want to be with Shaq.
Yeah.
I don't think those two go together.
Yeah, I don't think that take makes much sense at all. I just think she's someone that grew to like Shaq, and now she's pissed that he of all people would turn her down, and she's dropped all pretense and is being real, which I appreciate at this point.
You and you do this.
Yeah. I took you and your bald head, even though I told them I didn't want any bald heads, and now you're gonna pull this ish. Okay, you gonna turn me down? Okay. Double birds for you, my friend.
We get a confessional from him saying like he has no thoughts about what's next. He's like, this is something that he really wanted and he thought they could make it work. He said they were intentional. They did show up, but something was missing. Pick a lane, Shaq. What is your reasoning for saying no on decision day? If you're saying we both showed up, we were both intentional, but on the decision day, you just weren't there for me when I needed you to be there.
Well, I mean, classic Shaq and Kirsten as a couple this season, just incredibly vague and non-specific of what really he wants and what really made him say no.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not surprising that he's talking in these generalities of, something was just missing. What are you talking about?
God, so man. Her key and ring were already on the table, which should have been his indication that she was done. That was her last scene. Because that's the goodbye. So he puts his key and ring right next to hers.
He takes his, talk about acting, right? Shaq is like, he takes his ring, and he's sighing off. He's like,
such great memories of not sitting there watching TV, but one night right before decision day.
Memories of me walking in and just totally ignoring her and her existence as I walk into the other room. Eating silently. I miss all those times.
It's so beautiful in here. That one time I led her over to the laundry room.
While she's blindfolded.
And I still feel like she's too independent because she would barely listen to me that time.
Damn strong-willed woman. Too strong-willed for her own good.
She wouldn't kiss me on decision day. And then that one time we did that painting thing and then we made out on the couch. Who cares?
Who
means
cares?
Nothing now.
I'm not someone that was there for me as I woke up and went to sleep. I like how he keeps saying that. That's not even about cursing. I just had someone.
Yeah.
Sort of like a sex doll could do the same thing. Like they could be there for you when you wake up and go to sleep.
A dog can do that.
A dog can be that, yes.
Waking up, and as soon as I wake up and Pepper, because Cinnamon sleeps in her kennel, because we're working on some things with her.
You gotta regulate.
But yeah, we got to get some discipline in that woman. So she's been doing really well. We've been working on that for a few weeks. But with Pepper, when I wake up, I open my eyes, and she sees my eyes have opened.
And that hot dog breath hits your nose.
She's like, Mom. She comes up. She's so excited. That's the best thing in the morning.
She licks you with that tongue she's probably been licking her butt with all night. Nothing like it. Talk about Folgers is the best way to start your day or whatever.
The best part of waking up.
Yeah, the best part of waking up. Some hot dog breath is probably the better way.
In your cup.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, he's literally holding his box. Shaq is holding his box like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air meme.
I'm just looking around.
Empty apartment. Ah, man. So he leaves. We get the 2 days after decision day. So Clint is moving back into his apartment. He's like flipping through the wedding book as fast as possible. Can't even see the photos. He's flipping through it so fast. And he takes that along with some framed wedding pictures. He's like, all right, let's put this away.
I honestly thought he was on his way to the trash compactor or something. He's like, nope, I'm just going to put this in the bowels of my closet. I was like, okay.
Never to be seen again.
I just would have just appreciated if he just took the whole thing and just like, well, just do it in the trash can and kept moving.
Right. Then Clint's friend P called over FaceTime. And Clint said, it's a little weird not having a 90-pound Labradoodle looking me in the face every morning. That's his love. That's the love of his life. That's
what he misses. Nothing about Gina, just Hank. He just misses Hank.
I don't think that we got a bit of any of Clint's feelings about missing Gina.
Effer.
It was all from the angle of Hank.
It was all about Hank.
It was all about Hank.
Not gonna miss Gina. Anything about Gina. Why would he?
They're like, what about Gina? He's like, what about Gina?
Who? Who is that? Oh, Hank's mom? Is that who you're talking about? Right.
They're like,
I can't say I really know the woman, to be honest with you.
Well, Hank told me.
Yeah.
He said this is one bit we did. Okay. He said him and Gina just couldn't fall back on the friendship in order for it to be a marriage. And P said, look, I told you it's work. And so then we did hear that Clint said that there are a couple candidates that could resurface.
Clint's circling back around.
Yeah. He said,
ladies, I'm back.
Right. Hey, big head.
You up?
Remember when I thought I was getting married?
I know it's been 2 months, but I just thought I'd check back in.
Right. Let's talk about that over dinner. So then we cut over to McKinley. Whoa.
Ooh.
Okay.
Mac
He's looking at a house.
Back.
Right. He is walking up to a house with his friend Taylor. So if you don't remember, Mac and Dom ended early on. They were one of the 5 couples. And Mac currently lives with Taylor's parents. And so he's with Taylor. And he's like, oh, how do I get in? Let me call Kirsten. It's like, Kirsten is your realtor?
Cameo from Kirsten.
Yeah. I was like, what? So you can do it, but Nicole and Chris can't?
Kirsten, who was just like, sucks to be you when Nicole told her about her housing issues. All of a sudden is at Mac's beck and call to get him a new place.
And I was like, what kind of housing operation do they have going on in Nashville where the realtor doesn't have to be there? And she's just like, oh yeah, the door's
unlocked. Just walk in. She's like, oh, hey, was it Mackenzie? Oh, oh yes, McKinley. I do recall you. I think I remember we did a show together at one point. Yeah, the doors are unlocked. Just go right on in. How do we know there's not squatters in there or something?
Right.
I just like they needed a Kirsten cameo. Mac's like, yeah, I have to go look at this house because according to some people, I don't have, the means to get a house. But I mean, just to show some people, I got to do some house hunting because I can definitely afford this huge house because I have a bunch of money.
He's like, let me flex on you. Even though it's just me and my 2 dogs, show me the biggest house you can.
Meanwhile, Asia's like, yes, Married at First Sight, you can rent my house out for a day. Just make sure you don't leave any, any stuff around. Don't let Pepper and Cinnamon out of their kennels. Don't leave a mess, please. But yes, you can use my house to film.
So anyway, we did get a short.
Let's be honest, that's just your guest house.
Oh my gosh. We got a short HGTV segment basically of this house tour.
Did I get transported to House Hunters? Like, where are
Absolutely. we? He says he wishes he could be doing this with a wife, but since he doesn't have one, on to bigger and better things.
He said, Dom, this could have been us, but you was playing.
Right. Oh, we hear a confessional from Taylor. And she's like, this is a little outside of his range. It's a lot of land. It's kind of far out the city. It does have a pool and a cabana.
It's like, why do we need that from Taylor?
We just gotta get something from her.
Something.
So Mac does say it seems kind of big just for him and his 2 dogs. He will admit. So he's gonna keep looking. So we go to Kirsten's apartment. Her friend Chanel is there. And I was like, that kind of sounds familiar. I think that's the same, if I'm not mistaken, which I could be because I did not double check this. Wasn't there a friend named Chanel who said that her and Shaq kissed at the wedding?
I don't remember if that person was named Chanel, so I could not tell you.
Okay. For some reason, it just felt like that was the name. But like we've always said, we've been podcasting about this show for about 2 years now.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to remember.
Time ago.
About a decade ago. When
I've aged since then. Memory's not as good as it used to be.
I've literally aged since then.
Yeah.
So her friend Chanel's there. Kirsten says that Shaq had the nerve to say no on decision day, and he started crying.
And he started boo-hoo crying.
Right?
What is this, man?
So Chanel's like, like, what did he say? She said he wanted me to be more nurturing. He said he felt like he was alone. And Chanel's like, basically, like, what did you learn out of this? She's like, well, I learned to be more aware of other people's feelings. And right now I'm just going to focus on myself. She said, business is booming. She's going to focus on her. And we get a confessional. And she says, from here, the only way to go is up, which we did get that clip last time, but this was the context.
We thought they were trying to get us. But no,
right.
No. I said, there's no way that's about anything other than her and Shaq being successful. They're on the way up.
Right.
I look like Boo Boo's fool now. So.
Right. She says she has to start all over. She's talking to Chanel. She's like, I had to start all over again. Dating is so much. She said, at this point, I just want a partner. Like, we could just co-parent. We could just do all these things together. And then she's like thinking. She's like, nah, I need a husband.
Kirsten wants a business arrangement. Like, listen, I just need some help.
Right.
We can be friends. We can have a child. And we just,
just live together, help out with the bills, make life easier. Look, this isn't the first time I've heard this from people. I feel like people are starting to do this.
People, right? Who could people be? Right. I have no idea.
Hey, wait! I'm recording a podcast. No, I'm kidding.
I'll have you half the rent tomorrow.
Right. Put my check in my mailbox. Yeah. In the mailbox. But it's just like, I mean, I've heard have you heard this? Like, they did it on the reboot of That's So Raven, where Raven and Chelsea. I don't even know if I'm sure you watch.
I'm avid watcher of the reboot of That's So Raven.
So Raven.
It's on every day in this house.
Yeah, I know. So Raven and Chelsea, they've had kids since, and they both had marriages, but they're both divorced. And they decided to move in together to save costs. Their kids can grow up together. And so they were just like, hey, let's just co-parent together. It's easier to help each other than have to
gotta tell me. I mean, just out of frame, you'd be able to see my That's So Raven reboot poster that I have hung up here.
I knew it.
That's So Raven reboot.
Hey, we watch a lot of TV,
I wasn't even in the age bracket of the original That's So Raven, okay? I was aware that was a show, but I was too old to watch the show at that point.
I am too old to be watching the That's So Raven reboot. I am aware of that.
I wouldn't say that. I feel like you were probably young enough to be in the That's So Raven original.
I was, yeah.
So, I mean, I think when a reboot of your original show comes on, you are obligated to watch it to a certain extent, depending on, who is it aimed at.
So you're saying that I could be on Disney Plus watching The Proud Family Louder and Prouder.
You could. Just for the nostalgia of it, okay?
Okay.
For instance, Big Boy Meets World fan over here. When the sequel series Girl Meets World came out, I tried it. It was
I
not
watched
for
every
me.
episode.
It was not for me. It was not for me. Did I watch the episodes that continued the story of Corey and Sean and all them? Yes. The other episodes were like, why am I watching
It's
this
about the kids.
children's program?
Hey, for those out there who were curious, I think That's So Raven reboot is good.
You heard it here, folks. That's what you came here for.
If you like Married at First Sight, you would like the That's So Raven reboot.
Apparently, Raven needs to go on Married at First Sight.
Right.
But they wouldn't take her because she has kids. The American version, anyway.
Oh, they need to do because that would be the storyline the entire season. I thought I was ready for somebody with a child. I thought wrong.
Imagine Raven Simone on After Party with her former co-star Keisha Knight Pulliam.
Hey,
I'm sorry, Rudy.
Right, she's gone for 3 weeks and you forget.
Yeah, Rudy and what was Raven's name on that show? Olivia,
yeah.
Rudy and Olivia reunited.
And it feels so good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got lost on the how we got there, and I just reminded myself, Kirsten.
Yes, back to the show we came here to talk about, which shockingly is not That's So Raven.
Right, and I'm like behind on a season, so I like
no spoilers, everyone.
Please do not flood the Facebook with spoilers. That's So Raven reboot, please.
I know you're all tempted.
Right. Okay.
We have lost the plot.
So Kirsten does say, nah. Okay, scratch the idea. I need a husband. And Chanel says, yes, you deserve a husband. Which, it's tough in this position because it's like, when you're the one that says yes, you're ready. Mm-hmm. So it's like, does she need a grace period before she's ready to get back out there?
I mean, I think for her like mental well-being, she should probably take a break. Because she was ready. She was thinking that Shaq was going to be her.
Yeah,
Shaq was going to be her future, in her mind. So I think probably it'd be a good idea to take a break. I think both Shaq and Kirsten should take breaks. For someone like Gina and Clint, there are no breaks needed, obviously, because they never had a real thing. We can talk.
They
about
never
Jazz
had their foot on the gas.
Yeah, we can talk about Jazz and Eris once we get to their section. To Eris specifically, but I think Kirsten probably should take a minute and reevaluate.
So we go to Gina's apartment. She's moving back in. I like how she's moving in, and then Hank's like, "Bruh, you going too slow." Hank goes in that box, gets his taco toy out of the basket, and proceeds to play.
If Dad was here, he would have made sure that this was the first priority to get me my toy. I miss Dad.
I love that he took it upon himself.
Like, geez, gotta do everything myself around here.
Because I have a toy basket for Pepper and Cinnamon, and a
toy basket, which in real life is probably like a toy closet or something.
They just go into it. They just put their paws in and they just sniff around for the first toy that they like really need. And they'll like throw toys out with their nose until they get to the specific one that they want.
She's always putting the good one at the bottom.
Right. Sometimes I do
her.
If they're really digging, I feel a little bad and I'll dump it all out because I'm like, whatever you want is probably at the bottom. So here you go.
Such a good mom.
Thanks. So let's see. So she gets on the phone with like her mom, and I think was it like her mom's boyfriend or her stepdad? And her mom's
it's like, oh, Gina has a mom?
Right,
since when?
But yeah, she had no need to confide in her. And her mom says, sorry, dude.
Sorry, dude. It's like, okay, we know where Gina gets all of her like, personality attitude from.
Yeah. We get a confessional. Gina says that like her mom got divorced at a young age. So it's something that she always feared, that she would end up in that same situation. And they're about to get off the phone. Her mom says, "Give some love to my grandpup for me."
I'm sure you flash back to many a conversation with Mama Welch where
Oh,
she says the same
absolutely.
thing.
Literally, I land back in New York, back in Houston from New York. I tell her I land. She's like, "Okay, great." Hours later, she's like, "How are Pepper and Cinnamon?" I'm like, "I'm okay, Mom.
Thanks
I'm
for
settled
asking.
back in."
Yeah. How are
You're
my
right.
grandpups?
Right. I know you picked them up from daycare. How are they doing now? So so Gina is there with a friend, and her friend asked like if she learned like what she likes in someone now. And Gina says, "Well, reading a room and being a bit more a tad more reserved in some situations, because I didn't like that Clint was a class clown." And they flash back to all of his moments of just like dad jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, that's Clint being Clint. And he will find someone who appreciates that about him.
That's what most people like about Clint. Like, that's something that Gina just cannot tolerate. Anyone that has any sense of humor, apparently. I don't get it. She needs someone that's so boring and milquetoast. I mean, listen, hey, Max right here. Go ahead.
Right.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah. And so she says like she doesn't have to process any sad emotions, and she's just learned so much, and she's ready to date.
She's ready to go, like out the door. The second that she left that decision day, was getting back on the apps, ready to roll, and she's going to use all she learned. What did you learn, Gina? You learned
like, okay, Gina, you skipped class the whole semester.
You were sleeping back in the class. Let's be real.
Right. So that's it for that section.
Okay, so we're gonna go to Jasmine's house where she is unpacking her stuff.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. I like. Yeah, my eyes skipped completely over that. So yeah, it's 3 days after decision day now. And Jasmine is at her parents' house, which I forgot that Jasmine lived with her parents.
Yeah, but she wanted to make sure we all knew that this is only temporary.
Right. She could do bad all by herself.
Yeah, I'm not Mac. I'm not
right.
Stay here with people for a long period of time.
Yeah. So Jasmine's aunt is there with her, and she's looking at the wedding photos, and she's like, Jasmine says like she's disappointed that they chose divorce, but she doesn't regret anything. And her aunt was like, I wonder why he didn't want to stay married. And Jazz was like, well, the first problem was he never was all in. And her aunt was like, well, so it was a facade anytime he was around us. And Jasmine said, basically.
Yup.
And then her aunt is looking through the photo. She said, he seems happy here in this picture. Too bad it was a lie.
Too bad it was a lie.
Yeah.
Love Aunt Pat. If anyone has an Aunt Pat, you know what Aunt Pat is like. Aunt Pat, this is the archetype of the Aunt Pat.
Right. And so then her aunt said she feels like he just doesn't want to be married. And Jasmine's like, no, he wants it. He's just not ready. Like, we didn't have any chemistry, any romance, or any spark. And we get a confessional from her aunt, and she's like, I'll support Jasmine, but I still got some questions because I looked at Eris like family.
Eris gonna get kidnapped one day, and she's gonna interrogate him like, I got some questions for you, young man.
Right. So then her aunt says, he's not used to making somebody happy. Like, how are you 39 and you have never been in love?
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a read.
Right. And she's like, Jasmine, you got divorced quicker than I got divorced. I at least gave it a year. Then she's like unpacking a box. She picked up a wine. She's like, wait a second. I got y'all this. She's like, I'm going to take my wine back.
That's your right, Aunt Pat. That's just your right.
Yeah. Then Jasmine brings up how he said that he wants to come visit Duchess. And then Her aunt's confused, clearly. And Jasmine's like, I don't think he actually will. Spoiler alert, we see in the preview that he does take Duchess for a walk.
Yeah. I did later. Jazz is like, well, I mean, they did kind of make a bond. And then Aunt Pat was like, well, Duchess only put up with him because, he was staying with you. So,
Yeah. Because she had to.
yeah, no choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get to now Shaq is going to get himself back in shape. He's at a kickboxing gym where he's going to be shown the ropes by two trainers apparently. We see a little training montage. You see him tussling with a guy being trained in, I think, what, like jiu-jitsu or something, like, where is Muay Thai or whatever.
Morgan's favorite thing. How could you
Yeah,
forget?
where's the Morgan cameo? We're supposed to be doing cameos here. Let's get Morgan in the mix.
She's like, I flew in from San Diego.
Yeah. Kirsten sent me.
Right. Longtime friends.
Yeah. In a confessional, he says, he wants to really get back into his normal routine of working out because he really kind of got away from it in the marriage. So he's saying today is all about motivating himself. So he's doing all a little. He's terrible at it, of course. But we go over to Nicole and Kirsten, who are getting together, and they seem to be shopping for furniture. I think to furnish Kirsten's house because we know from early in the season she had no furniture.
When you go through a breakup, you gotta do something major. She don't want to cut her hair, but she's like, let me redo how I'm living,
or let me just do it in general.
Yeah,
because she has no furniture.
Right.
So yeah, they're walking around and they sit down and Kirsten asks Nicole, so how's everything going? How's the living situation? And then Nicole says, we were planning to live separately until we could move into our new place, but we've just been staying in his place. I was like, that.
Why was that not the plan all along?
Why was this a complicated argument needed? That's what we told y'all you should have been doing in the first place. Like, what was the argument? What was the argument about? That's just, why wasn't that the first solution you came up with? I don't understand.
Because I felt like their argument was that they couldn't have 3 dogs there. Did they change the rules, or they decided to?
They took my advice and just brought the damn 3rd dog and didn't tell anybody. Okay.
They're like, by the time this is on TV, we'll be in our new place, so it's fine.
Exactly. Nicole's like, we just figured, why go back and forth? He has the big bed, so I had to get new pillows, new duvet, get rid of all the single man bedding. Nicole says, you're better. Nicole tells Kirsten, you're better than me, because if Chris had done what Shaq did, I would have flipped the table. His car would have been in the river. Dr. Pepper would have had to hold me back. I feel like if Nicole was racial enough, she could just toss Dr. Pepper wherever she needs her to be, like, get off of me. I feel like Nicole could turn to the Hulk and just pitch Dr. Pepper wherever she wanted her to.
And then Chris is like, I meant yes. What do you mean?
Chris trying to hide behind Pastor Cal, like, don't let her give me Pastor Cal. I can't help you, young fella. So yeah, Nicole says, so if Shaq did reach out to you, would you be receptive? Kirsten says, yeah, I'd be receptive, but I know I could reach out, but why would I reach out to somebody that just said no to me on decision day? I think the better thing to do would be he to call and text me. And then Nicole says, well, I mean, I guess he didn't know how you would respond. What if you were super depressed and he wouldn't know how to handle that? But also, what if you were super happy? He wouldn't know how to handle that either. In a confessional,
devil's advocate over here.
For real. In a confessional, Nicole says, Kirsten, I don't think Kirsten and Shaq should be together. It wasn't their time, and more time just wouldn't really fix it. Kirsten says that there isn't much to discuss besides why he said no on D-Day. Nicole says, well, closure about decision day could help because it would really be gnawing at you to know why he said no in the moment. What do you think about the expert Nicole saying, they shouldn't get back together because, nothing would fix this?
I do agree. Well, like, I think that they need to work on themselves. In order for it to actually work, they would have to work on themselves first. in terms of like Shaq's insecurity, and then in terms of Kirsten, just learning how to like care for someone else, and like without having to put like extra effort behind it. I mean, yes, it is work, but I just feel like that if it in order like if they did that, I think it would help, and they could actually have a future together. My issue here with her advice was the reaching out to him part, because I agree with Kirsten.
Yeah, for
He's the
sure.
one that made the decision. This point, if she's the one reaching out to him, he already knows that she made that choice and said yes. That's her begging for him
Yeah.
to make a different decision.
Yeah, it looks kind of desperate. Like I wouldn't be down for that. Being like, hey, just wanted to check in, see maybe if you changed your mind and
Right.
I can come back. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We ain't doing it. He needs to call and explain himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he need to do. Is basically what Kirsten is saying.
Yeah.
So after the Nicole and Kirsten scene, we go over to Eris and his buddy Cheese is back. We saw Cheese in the beginning of the season, and we were wondering where Cheese had been. We seen all of Eris's other friends, Mario and Luigi brothers, who they showed coming to their house at one point. We were missing Cheese. I think we're in Eris's house. We're in his little, I guess, man cave is what you would call this.
Man cave. Yeah.
So they're hanging out, and Eris asks, so I wonder, if the streets are the same as when I left them, brother.
He gets on my last nerve.
Cheese's girlfriend Raven comes in, and says, oh, Eris, welcome back. And for some reason, it was chosen that she would act super surprised that Jasmine isn't there. She's like, what? Why are there only 3 shots? Like, oh yeah, there's no more Jasmine. Like, oh man. She said, I was really hoping a double date. Aaron says, yeah, I mean, we could double date if you hook me up with one of your friends. She says, yeah, I could do that because they want you. I said, get out of here. Did Eris put you up to this?
Right.
That's what it feels like.
They've been after you for a long time, Eris.
They so excited that you free now.
Right. He's been free.
The streets are wondering where you at. The streets have missed you. They want to know where you were.
The streets are saying, Eris,
come back.
And that's why he said no on decision day.
Yeah, the streets are calling. In a confessional, Eris says, one of the things he really learned through this is that relationships should have purpose. And from now on, he's only going
this at 39 years old.
At 39 years young. He says that from now on, he's only going to get into relationships that serve a purpose. She says, something that could really help you, in marriage would be to have a long-term relationship before marriage. He says, usually, you dip out before the commitment. I said, thank you, Cheese, for your wisdom and sage advice of maybe you should be with someone for a while before you get married. Right. Why didn't I think of that?
It's kind of a wild concept. So yeah. It was original.
Out of the box thinking, really.
Uh-huh.
Raven asks, she says, there's plenty of fish in the sea. And it says maybe you get 8 out of 10 of the things in your on your checklist, but you won't ever get 10 out of 10. Eris says, well, I am excited to get back out there. And this
I can fill in the blank.
This MFer had the nerve to come out his face and say, I'm down for anything. Light, dark, younger, older, thick, slim.
No, you're not, Eris.
And then he set some age parameters. He says no lower than 8 years younger than me. And I forgot what the upper range was.
The upper range was no older than 2 years older than him. Okay. But he said no older than 8 years younger. You're 39. So you're saying no younger than 31. But then he says no younger than 8 years younger, late 20s.
Sir, the math is not mathing.
He thinks he's 35.
He act like he's 20. So Raven says she's gonna put her matchmaker hat on for him. I just the audacity, right, to say I'm down for anything. And I like that Jamel put his like, kind of called him on his BS on after party, where she goes, "We just saw you in a situation where you were not attracted to Jasmine because she was not your quote unquote type. You were not attracted to Jasmine. So what's the issue?" Since I brought up the Eris on after party thing, I was very disappointed in the fact that they chose to keep in Eris saying, "Well, me and Jasmine talked about decision day, and I just kind of let her know that I was gonna say no because Clint told me he felt like she was gonna say yes, so I wanted to make sure we had that conversation." I feel like that takes a little bit of agency away from Jasmine and her decision day decision.
Yeah, that was weird to hear. And I mean, I still want to give her that power for saying not even being in a position to be like, okay, you maybe say no, but what if I say yes? Then will that change your decision?
Right.
So I'll say at least we have that, and at least they let her go first.
Yep.
But
she said what needed to be said, so we can never take that away from her.
Exactly. And I also thought it was interesting on after party. Were you going to say this next? What we found out about the middle of the night?
Oh, yes. And Jamel kind of asked him, I think what we all want to know is like, what is the issue with the attraction? And he says, it's just something, it's just he didn't find her attractive. He apparently let her know what the specific issue was. Because one night late at night, she turned to him and asked him, like, what's the deal? Why is there no sexual chemistry? And he says he laid it all out for her, gave her specific reasoning. And of course, Jamel did the thing that you would do and say, well, can you elaborate on what it was? And he did say, I won't get into it. I mean, give him a little credit. He did say, I won't go into it here because it's, that's between me and Jasmine. He would never put her business out in the street like that. I was like, what is going on? Does she have like a second head popping out somewhere? Like, what?
I think whatever it is so so not I'm trying to figure out like what's the word for it. Like I don't think it would be so much like embarrassing her or putting her business out there as much as it would be him for making that the decider for his attraction.
Oh, of course. I do feel like I just get this. I have no proof to back this up or any facts. I just feel like whatever his issue is, that if we heard it, we would be like, you, sir, are just undeniably an idiot. I just feel like it's got to be something that's just super ridiculous.
Yeah. And he said, and that's that. And then we tried to move forward. And so then I'm like, okay, now she specifically knows, like, it's not this ambiguous, like, okay, I'm just not like Lauren London, but it's a specific issue that he's not attracted to. And if it's nothing she can change, then that's that. Because he's like, some people, I'm just not attracted to them. And he's like, I've run into that before.
They're not attracted to him.
They're not. Yeah. There are some people that are not attracted to him. And he's like, and that's something I've dealt with. And I'm like, I'm sure. But it's just it seemed like it's like a matter of fact, like, hey, you have a blue toe and you can't get rid of it. And I'm just not attracted to you. So that's that.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the position he took. So why are we going through the facade of the other 7 weeks? Because that was like apparently really early into the relationship. I think he said right after they got back from the honeymoon. So like, so you were just kind of faking this whole 7 weeks after that, just to, because it's apparently this issue was so large you just could not overcome it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. That is, yeah. I just.
I'm so frustrated with him, and it's ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, because obviously in this segment where he's talking to Cheese and all this stuff, it's like it's just obvious that this meant nothing to him. He is ready to be back out in the streets the day after. Literally is what he's saying. He's been ready to be back on the streets. Where
like his dating profiles on Snooze.
Yeah,
So
and
he
and here
had every intention to like, this probably won't work out.
yeah, and here Eras tell it to the experts. He was telling them like, yeah, I was really it was really starting to be something. It just started too late. And this tells me that was all BS, really, because
Oh,
he's ready.
absolutely.
He's ready to be back out there at a drop of a hat.
Mhm.
Streets is calling. He's answering. He's I'm back, y'all.
He's calling the streets. The streets ain't even calling him. He's the one calling.
Mm-hmm. Throw a parade for Eris in the streets. He's back. He's back in there where he belongs.
Mm-hmm.
So we are back with Shaq. He's back in his apartment. He's unpacking, and two of his friends come over. So they're asking him, so what are you sad? He says, no, it's really different. It's a really different feeling. In a confessional, he says that what he'll miss most is waking up next to someone every day. Again, nothing about Kirsten, just a warm body he needed wake up to every day. So one of his friends asks, so do you have any regrets? Shaq says, well, I don't want to go through life regretting or living in the past. I just really wish it could have worked out. But, he just wasn't settled with Kirsten. He doesn't want to just be happy. He wants to be overjoyed. And it just wasn't there for him. He never thought he would get divorced in his life, but he wonders what is next and how he can find his true happiness. Now, again, this is another prime example of like, I don't want to be just happy. I want to be overjoyed. It's like your expectations are sky high, my dude.
Who was that? It was Ryan from the Houston season. That was just like, I want to come in and like, I want to throw her up against the wall and like just have this just so much passion, and I want to have butterflies. And so yeah, it's like he's looking for, and the issue with Shaq is he was looking for that day one.
Yeah,
he
day
was
one. Like,
looking
it
for
had
that
to be
undeniable, like I can't keep my hands off of her type of feeling.
Yeah, it had to be perfect, like by the honeymoon. All right, I think he was understanding the first day, but by honeymoon, he was like, all right, why aren't we, just ripping each other's clothes off? Why am I not overjoyed? And even by week 8, I don't think it's reasonable to say I should be over the moon, overjoyed with you. You're still getting to know each other after 2 months. Like, it's not everyone is a Chris and Nicole, right? Like, and even they're not overjoyed. They still have their issues.
Right.
I just think his expectations are way too grand. And this is a perfect encapsulation of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got that. So his friends say, time can change things. And his friends are saying, me and my wife, because the other friend there is his wife, we broke up before our marriage. But it does sound like you might be open to reconciliation because, they did ask him, like, what's next? Is it an option to get Kirsten back? Shaq said, well, I would like us to be friends, and you never know. We could just need time apart to self-evaluate. And, we're not divorced yet, but I did turn her down, and, I know how that might feel. So, I mean, what do you think Shaq? I know Shaq says he's not regretting his decision, but I feel like this and a couple other moments in this episode and in After Party feels like Shaq's got some regret.
I mean, I think right now it's like teetering on that line of like, do I regret it? And then After Party is like, yeah, no, I regret it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because to even be thinking, like, you said no on decision day, and now you're thinking, wait, but we're still married, so there's still a chance. Wait, why are you having to win her back over? You're the one who said no.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, well, it's as if he was said no to, right? He's like,
yes, that's how exactly.
I can still win her back. We're not divorced yet.
It's like, wait, what?
Do you know what happened? Like, do you remember what happened on decision day? You're the one that said no.
He's like, wait, I did? I thought I remember me saying yes. Like, she said no.
I walked into the decision day. Cal and Pepper were there, but she said, "Oh, it was a great blue dress." She said, "I said I can't live up to your charm life," and I said, "Oh crap, I did say no. Damn, I gotta call Kirsten." For him to be so wish-washy now, a couple days after decision day, just shows how And is he in his feelings at decision day? Is he just like overthinking
He said that on he said it on
on
decision
that?
day. Oh,
Yeah.
and when they meet in the group later, that like it wasn't a decision until he made it to decision day. Like he was still on the fence trying to figure it out, and he just had to go with what his heart said in the moment.
I mean, your heart betrayed you, my boy. If your mind is now keep reeling about like maybe I should have said yes. So one of his female friends says, I feel like you guys were a great match, and unfortunately, we'll never know if yes or no was the best option for you because you
Mm-hmm.
messed it up and said no, dummy.
Yeah.
We then go over to Chris and Nicole. They are at Chris's apartment. She comes in and we see her bringing Charlie there. So they're all three of the dogs are in that apartment.
Yep.
She's brought her little overnight bag. And apparently Chris whips out this lease agreement. He's okay, time to sign a lease agreement for our new place. We find out they're going to move in a couple weeks. So I feel like they probably had this settled before decision day, don't you think? Where they were to live?
Yes. Yeah, because this is happening too fast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like it was like these were all spur, like we said, we're 3 days after decision day. So I don't think they're just fast acting like, yeah, we can get these together. We at least no. I think it was. And that was just a storyline because they didn't want us to make us think that they were perfect.
I've had to sign a lease in a long time. Do they let you take the lease home and sign it and bring it back? I kind of thought that was a thing you did in like the leasing office.
Well, now it's all electronic.
Yeah, they had a piece of paper they signed.
They did have a piece of paper, but it was like staple. I don't know.
It looked fake, to be honest.
The last leases I've signed in the past 8 years, well, 10 years really, have been online. You read through it and then it's the initial and sign.
Well, leases for mansions might be different. Who knows? Yeah, so
it's like I own.
Yeah, I buy. I don't rent anymore. Okay, it's like peons. So they sign their fake looking lease agreement. They sit down on the couch, and he says, once we've got everything kind of settled with a new place, we've got everything kind of bills kind of merged. We're going to have to figure out how we're going to split things financially. And she says, well, do you want to do like a separate account? Do you want to do a joint account that we both put money into to pay the bills? He's like, I can just pay everything and then you send me half of it. In a confessional, Nicole, having actually, I feel, learned through this process, says, I think a shared account makes sense, but I'm not going to push the issue immediately because he'll probably come to that realization on his own.
Yeah.
So it seems like Nicole's maybe learned something.
Yeah, just a little bit. Because old Nicole, we're like, don't you think that a shared account would be in our best interest right now?
3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I just wanted to see if you rethought that shared account thing.
And then in a confessional, I'm just a little concerned that he doesn't think to do a shared account. Like, is he not thinking that we're going to need it? Like, is he thinking that we're eventually going to be separate?
Yeah, he's going to divorce me later, and he doesn't want to go through the hassle of taking his money out.
Remember, he didn't choose me.
Yeah, he didn't choose me. So Chris asked Nicole if she feels better since D-Day has, come and gone. She says, she really does. And she now knows that he isn't going anywhere since he once again, doubled down on his commitment to her and said yes. He says, the next thing we have to do is work on your last name. But, I'm not really feeling any kind of rush about that. She says, oh, well, funny you should mention that. I do have something I want to show you.
She got up. She said, oh, I got something for him. I was like, where is she going?
And he's like, oh, did you do it already? She's like, no. I just got all the paperwork for it. And she whips out this huge binder of documents and envelopes. I did, like, when my wife changed her name, it did not involve this much work. It definitely involved going down to like a social security office. We did all that like in person, but I mean, that was 10 years ago. So
yeah, we're living in a new world right now, Jason.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's not electronic. I guess you got to go and really prove that you are who you say you are before you go change your names.
Maybe it is electronic and she has just printed it out for the purposes of this.
Could be.
They
Could be like
wasted a lot of paper for this
Could
scene.
be like the fake lease.
Yeah, this scene had a lot of paper.
Yeah. We've seen sometimes.
Yeah.
In confessional, she says, the name change thing actually ended up meaning a lot more to me than I thought it would. But it is an active choice. And I do really like that he's not pressuring me to try and make me do it, which actually makes me want to change my name even more. So positive in the notes of Nicole. She's ready to change her last name because, Chris is kind of going with the flow there. So she's down for it. Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her. We are now get 4 days after decision day. So another day has passed and everyone is showing up at an axe throwing bar, which to me,
Have you ever been to one?
I have not. Definitely sounds like an Aysha Welch thing to do.
I want to. I never have. There is one next to my favorite cidery, but I just have never been.
Of course, that's where it is. I just don't like the idea of drunk people having axes. I just don't think that ends well.
Okay, I will say I didn't know that they did like a bar mixing type thing. You like the places I've seen are pure, like the activity is the only thing there.
I feel like I've seen ones where they serve you drinks at like your little axe stand.
Oh.
I feel like when I've seen them, because I mean, every reality show nowadays has to have an axe throwing activity. I feel like I have seen them like bring drinks to your little axe throwing stand or whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Never done it myself. I wouldn't even know where to go axe throwing right now.
Too much axe throwing, not enough escape rooms.
Yeah.
I guess they can't really film those, but
did y'all do you didn't do an escape room in New York this time around? I guess
not in New York, but we did in Toronto.
Yeah, I'm aware.
We kind of ran out of time since me and Mari binged the Ultimatum Queer Love.
One of these days, you and I are going to do an escape room together, and we'll live stream it for the Facebook audience about how frustrated you'll probably get with me as I try and throw you off of trying to get out of the escape room, just to make you fail getting out of the escape room, because I know it means so much to you.
Like, this is just like the podcast. You are going on a tangent.
Don't be off track. So she's solving this math equation. You're talking about some other thing. Jason, put that down. I can see it now.
You're like, why are you taking it so seriously? Because this is my passion.
This is my life. So yeah, of course, as any group activity needs to start, Nicole kicks it off and says, we all started this all off together and we're all ending it
she's
together.
Like, wait, what? Okay. We've all started this.
We all started this together. Hold the cue card up a little higher. We have to edit together as well. And and she asks for the update from Mac and Dom, because it's been a while since they've seen those two. I mean, besides Eris and Clint, who have seen Mac recently.
Yeah.
I was honestly a little struck to see Dom again, because we have not seen her since the beginning of the season.
We got this scene with Mac house hunting. We literally got an individual scene for the other 9 people. Yep. And nothing for Dom. No check-in, no how you doing, how's
a little bit of a check-in. And then she had to run off.
Well, I mean, she didn't get her own individual scene. We could have at least got her hanging out with her mom.
Yeah, something. So we get the updates. Max says, I've just been working a lot, and he says, yeah, I have been on some dates. Dom says, everything's really going good. My dog is great. And we find out that she got a dog and she named it Bo. She says, yeah, I really needed some positivity since this whole thing was so draining and stressful. And that dog's the only love I need in my life. I said, all right, Aysha.
I mean, I never knew how fulfilling the love of a dog could be.
So good to do it twice.
Right, exactly. I tell them all the time, do you know how much I love you? They are just the light of my life.
That's a sad scene, but okay.
And they're here for a good time, not a long time. So I just want them to feel
that's dark. Gosh.
You have to be real with yourself. It's true. And so I just want to show that I want them to feel as much love as they can throughout their life. Okay?
I wouldn't have anyone else be a dog mom but Aysha. I feel like you're probably the best dog mom anyone can get. I wish I could be reincarnated to be Aysha's dog. and live in the lap of luxury every day, all day. Get sent to donkey hotels where she goes off to our RHAP event and get this spa treatment, I'm sure.
They do have the time of their lives.
Yeah.
Even while podcasting, they're napping right now, which they always nap in here. But I have beef liver just in case they wake up, and freeze dried beef liver, only 2 calories each, just in case they wake up and want a little snacky snack.
Only the best for our girls.
Right.
In the confessional, Mac is livid that Dom has a dog. Max says, this is ridiculous. She works all the time. She travels and parties. I feel so bad for that dog. But you know what? I'm not even surprised. This is such an immature thing to do. I said, oh my gosh, Mac is going off right now.
I was like, so y'all aren't just cordial now. You've moved on. Absolutely not.
He hates her guts.
Yes. There was zero reconciliation that occurred off camera.
They did not even... I don't think they even talked. I'm not sure their eyes met once during this whole thing. So we get to the big moment where everyone says, all right, so what did everybody say on decision day? As if none of us know. We're just going to pretend we have not talked in 4 days. None of us have texted. None of us have met up. We're just going to pretend.
Well, real quick on the Dom point with the dog. Did you think about Clint at all?
What do you mean?
The fact that now Dom has a dog, I was like, "Oh, this is perfect for Clint."
And that makes her more attractive to Clint.
Yeah,
I can collect another dog.
He said, "What?"
Dom, you're looking real good to me all of a sudden.
Wait, all of a sudden I'm seeing her in a new light. What is it?
Fast forward in the preview when they meet up, Clint does take her dog in his arms.
Yes, he does. This man can't be stopped.
He's the dog collector at this point. He's gonna kill Dom and take her dog.
That is your second reference to murder. This crime scene.
You're talking about short time, not a long time.
A good time, not a long time.
Good time, not a long, whatever.
It's a fact.
Okay. Not a fact you need to be bringing up. Talking about our girls dying soon. We don't need that.
Not soon, but they're not gonna live until I'm 80.
Okay,
I would
Aysha.
love
Okay,
for them
we get it. Dogs have a short lifespan. We don't need to dwell on it. We don't want to think about that. Okay, we love pepper cinnamon.
The oldest dog in the world just turned 31.
That's your fun fact for the week, folks.
Yeah, I'm just saying. He was born when I was born.
Gosh, that's a lot.
That's wild, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we get to the decision days. Eris announces that he and Jasmine thought it'd be the best to go their separate ways, but they did end on a good note. I saw the decision day. They did not end on a good note, I don't think.
Yeah, at all.
Jasmine says, they did end things as good friends, but marriage wasn't for them with each other. She has grown through this being with him. He says, he's still going to go play with Duchess. He's really got to take care of his responsibilities as a dog dad. Everyone has a good hearty chuckle out of that. And of course, Clint, just getting on Gina's nerves, even more, has the nerve to joke. It says, yeah, we're all going to renew our vows tomorrow, guys. And the crowd does not really go wild for this. They're just like,
at all.
You're not serious, right? You are joking. Because they're like, you don't tell me you didn't do that. It's not just kidding. Just kidding.
It went on probably 5 seconds too long. Like, they knew you were joking the moment you said this.
Yeah.
And then he kind of let it sit.
He let it sit there where everyone just stared at him. He's like, just kidding, guys. We got divorced. But we are splitting on good terms. He says, and Gina says, yeah, he is welcome to have visitation with Hank as long as he promises not to kidnap him. Now, Gina's joke got a lot of laughs. Like, oh my gosh. Shaq says, well, I mean, if he does kidnap him, Hank's in really good hands. Right, better hands than Gina's. You probably should just take Hank. Chris tries a joke, says, well, I'm really going to drop a bomb on you guys. We said yes. Yeah. Real funny, Chris.
Chris is so funny.
Yeah, you're so hilarious. So up next is Shaq. Shaq says, I decided to say no, and it came from my heart. It was really an emotional roller coaster for us, and I don't want her to hate me. I just didn't feel it. And on decision day, uh, you know, to where that will, where he was on decision day, it came from prayer. He respects her as a person, as a human, but they just weren't soulmates. Kirsten hears this the whole time Shaq's talking. She's just rolling. She's kind of rolling her eyes without rolling her eyes, if you know what I mean. Just to look at her face, just like she was over it. And she says, "Well, I'm willing to give it a chance because I was willing to give the marriage a chance because you can't really get to know someone in 8 weeks, and you never know what can happen unless you try it outside of the experiment." She knows there are ups and downs, and she didn't want to be married to someone that had these insecurities, and it's going to really take time to get past all of this. Jasmine's asked, "So is the door truly closed, or is it just a no for right now?" Chris says, "No, the door is closed, closed for business. Gone fishing. We're not in."
They even went to commercial to make us think, "Ooh, is there a potential here?" Absolutely not.
Chris says no, because when you have a chance for something, you take it, and if you don't, you missed your chance. She has no plans on calling or texting or checking in on him, because when she closes a chapter, she is done with it, and she doesn't want to talk to that person anymore, and she doesn't have much more to say, as she is still processing. But she knows when it's time for her future husband to come along, she knows it will happen. Okay, girl, go ahead. Shaq says, we'll get through this. And, he doesn't want to put it in a box and act like it didn't happen. He only wishes each other the best. And, he knows it's going to take a while for both of them to get to that point.
Did you notice the the smirk he had on his face when she started talking about all this? Kind of like,
I mean, what do you think the smirk meant?
It just felt like, I don't know, I don't think he expected her to feel this way.
He thinks she's taking it too hard?
No, I think he's thinking like it's potentially making him look bad, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because she's taking the power in her own hands to be like, okay, I may have said yes, but that doesn't mean I'm hanging around for this relationship, because he's the one now saying, you never know, I could be her Prince Charming.
Chris is like, no, I know you are not.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the confessional, Shaq does say, he knows that she's upset right now, but he knows that she's going to find her Prince Charming someday. And who knows? It may be him again one day. Sir, stop it. But you never know where God will lead them. Curtis said, God said, Shaq, you don't put me in this. This is your mess up. Mine.
He's like, I already have my hands in getting y'all paired together, and look what you did.
You messed this up, not me. I know you like to blame everything on me, but this was your thing. Clinton says, well, at least we can all walk away as friends. They all took a chance at love, and they all tried. Nicole says, she couldn't believe how much she has grown, and how how obviously everyone else has grown through this process. The growth has been astronomical, and they couldn't have gotten through this without everyone there. Well, I mean, except Dom and Matt, because y'all weren't here. But she says, you guys aren't getting rid of me that easily, and I'm going to be all over y'all, and we have to remember to all stay connected. Dom, having just kind of had enough of all this, she's like, well, I'm gonna head out. I told the producers they could only have me for 40 minutes, and it is 39 minutes and 59 seconds. So I have done my contractual duty to show up to film, and I gotta go because y'all suck. I hate all y'all. Deuces. Goodbye. I was like, right. Oh my gosh. Dom. She was not having this whatsoever.
At all. She didn't even try to fake care.
Did not. She was just like, yep, I gotta go. Bye. And they were all just kind of like, all right, bye.
Right. No one was like, no, wait.
Oh, go. Oh, no. Nicole does ask Mac, and Nicole just calls attention to the elephant in the room. which I don't even know was an elephant in the room. It might have been like a mouse in the room, and she decided to make it an elephant.
Mm-hmm.
Just so Mac, Gina, you're both single now. You're ready to date. How about dating each other? What do you feel about that? And we cut to a confessional of Clint saying, "Wow, I didn't see that coming." Now, this was one of those confessionals that are obviously taped well after the season. They're in a little studio. This wasn't a confessional like inside of the bar or anything. This wasn't an in the moment confessional.
Could
I
have
feel like
been
this.
anything under the sun.
Yeah, this was so vague that he could have been talking about anything throughout the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
We did get some like discussion on the after party about Nicole. Was Nicole in the right to bring this up here and now? And Nicole was like, Clint does not care. He is not bothered whatsoever. And of course, Eris and Shaq are trying to argue that, he probably felt some type of way because he was bringing it up in the moment, like 4 days after decision day. But Nicole's like, Clint doesn't care. He's fine. And I really
she's like, I'll call Clint. And Eris is like, no, he's fine.
Yeah, fine. You don't need to call him. He doesn't want you to call him. But the fact that we didn't really get any big facial expressions from Clint in the moment or get a in the moment confessional, I don't think he cared. And I don't even think production could convince him that he cared because
yeah,
they didn't even get a good soundbite from him about this in the moment.
Yep.
Nicole just says, yeah, it would be great to see if there was some like misconnection between you two. Max says, what are you even basing that off of? She says, oh, really? Nothing. We do get a confessional from Eris that says, we all know there have been rumblings. The streets have been talking about Mac and Gina, but we weren't expecting it to come up here and now in front of Clint. He says, but why not? Mac does say, he's open. He says, I find her attractive. And he says, I find you all attractive.
Chris is like, whoa.
Hey, calm down. Hit on my wife. Nicole says, well, you guys can just start with coffee and see where it goes. Gina says, yep, we will be sure to keep you all updated. And of course, Chris, the jokester that he is, I'm sure pissing Gina off, says it'd be like married at second sight. right? Everybody got a big kick out of that though. They were all, oh, Chris, you jokester.
Oh gosh.
And that was the episode.
Yeah.
Some interesting stuff for next time. Clint goes on. Apparently, Clint's going to go on 2 dates in this next episode. One with some rando and one with Dom.
Well, the first lady, she was a redhead.
Oh, hey. G words unite, I guess. We get a scene with all the guys. Apparently, both Eris and Clint have their exes' dogs. And we hear Eris say, this could be a all-time thing. Cut to Jazz saying, nope, this is a one-time thing. As she's with the ladies, I was like, oh, that's funny.
She's like, I'm already nervous.
Yep.
She's like, I don't trust that man.
Mac and Gina, we see them go out on their date. Gina says some line about, we got to the airport to go to the honeymoon. I did notice you first. Chris and Nicole go furniture shopping, and he seems like he's going to have to kind of, control her spending in a way because she wants to buy an expensive chair. Boring couple stuff, basically. We see Jasmine going on her date. Why do you think they are hiding this man from us?
I know. Like, do we know him?
Yeah, is this some person that we have met before? Like, I don't understand why we can't see his face. His back is to us, has been to us the whole time we've ever seen anything about this.
Because is there just one camera available? And this is the only angle we have on this date?
I don't know. Why are we on this? Is this like Eris in a wig or something?
That we know already.
What if it's Zach?
No. He was light skinned, right?
I thought he was darker skinned.
Okay, then I don't know what I'm remembering.
Go to the tapes. Yeah, who knows? Who knows what that's about? And we do see Clint meeting up with Dom as she brings her dog, and he basically takes her dog out of her hands. Like, give me this.
Okay, dog. And they tried to, and I don't want to read too much into it, but it was like the guys were sitting together when they had the dogs, and then Clint was like, or Eris was like, Clint, have you had sex since decision day? And Clint's like, I have. Yep. And then cut to him meeting up with Dom. So
yeah, who knows? I mean, we this episode
Last week
proved we
we were
cannot read
wrong.
edits. So we cannot read edits. So
Yeah.
I don't want to say one way or the other what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who knows? Yeah, that's our episode. You know, not a complete dud of an episode.
Yeah, we got some stuff, some entertaining stuff to laugh about at least. So I didn't hate it. And next week seems like it may be good. So
yeah.
hey.
Do you want a MAFS UK update?
I want an update on that couple that swapped.
Yes.
How are they doing?
So it has been determined, as I said in my edit reading, they had been leading us to think that they would not allow Matt and Whitney to continue in the experiment together.
Okay.
But reading the edit, I was like, that's probably a mislead, and they're going to let them back in. I was right. They did let them back into the experiment as they're not going to be a married couple.
Okay.
But really, none of them are a married couple, and for real. But they are going to let them back in as just as a dating couple, but they won't be considered marrieds, which doesn't make any sense. But okay.
Yeah. So when they decide, they're like, yep, we're going to continue dating.
Yeah, I don't understand what the point of that was.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, they let them back in as I thought they would, which upset some of the people in the group.
Are they thriving?
Well, here's the thing, right? So we find out that they have told each other they love each other already within a week.
Mm-hmm.
And they told because they all went out to different they went out to a guy's
the ultimatum queer love?
Right. They went on a guy's date and a woman's date, and they each told their respective parties what that they said they loved the other person, and everybody is skeptical. They're like, after a week, y'all said you love each other? I don't believe that whatsoever. Yeah, I don't really believe it either. I think both Matt and Whitney are here for the cameras and the fame, so I don't believe that whatsoever. Nothing too earth shattering for anyone else. Yeah, Keisha and Kwame are on the ropes, about to be done, because they went to what they call homestays, which is where they visit each other's houses. And he refused to show her his house. He says he's secretive, which I don't think is a good descriptor for someone when you're in a relationship. Just to be like, nope, I'm not going to show you my house because I'm secretive.
Okay. Right, like secretive and then like private. There'd be two different things, because like private, you can respect privacy, but secrecy feels like you have secrets from me for a reason.
Right. So she is very perturbed by this. He also will not really give her any indication of how he feels about her. There was this funny scene where they were out with his friends and they were discussing their relationship, and she tells him, like, you've never really told me how you feel about me. And he was like, I haven't? Really? Are you sure?
What about that one time?
I swear, I could have sworn I did. Okay, it was like, well, tell her how you feel now. But he will not. He refuses to tell her how he feels. So I think they are pretty much done. As far as that goes. Everyone else is kind of just smooth sailing in a way. Adrian and Tom looks like they may be done because there's no real sexual chemistry there, and they're starting to realize that. So they may be done. Nothing else really of note. So that's your quick MAFS UK update.
Cool. Oh my goodness. That's what I'm interested to see what the end of the experiment looks like for them dating.
For who?
For the Matt couple that
I mean, who knows? It'll probably be the same thing the married couples do, but they'll just let them do it. I don't know.
Our decision day is we're gonna stay dating.
Yeah. Well, they do something called a final vows or whatever, where they meet in some grand place, and they either give their decision of whether they're going to stay together or not. So it's not even something where like an experts are there and they reveal a decision. They do this big speech, and at the end they're just like, and I would love to stay married to you or whatever, blah blah blah. It's a whole big to do. At the end. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Fun times. MAFS UK very, very.
Isn't it coming to a close soon?
Yeah, they're very close to the end of the experiment.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll get there probably within the next few weeks, I think.
They end before we do.
Right.
All right. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us. Like we said, I think we have 4 more episodes to go.
Oof.
Um,
Yeah, we're skipping that cast tell all, right? We're taking a break that week, I would assume.
I really wanted to cover that. Just kidding. Yes, yes, yes. So technically, I think 3. We get this episode, and then we have the 2 reunions.
I think we probably have 4 left. So I think
Okay,
there's
not
2
including the
more.
cast tell all.
Right, there's 2 more post decision day episodes, and then the 2 reunion shows will be probably what we'll be covering. We'll take the little break in between for the cast tell all.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Decided now.
Whatever that is, honestly, because I still don't really know what that is. Whereas the
Right.
cast tell all previous seasons, I assume it's about people from previous seasons coming on and talking
Talking
about the
about this
show,
season, yeah.
which it will be like a decision day dish where we don't cover those. Yeah.
They just come up with new names.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Make sure y'all subscribe to our Love at First Sight feed. Leave us a 5-star rating and review if you haven't already. And of course, yes, we'll be back next week. Jason, where can people find you and what are you up to?
You can find me over on Post Show Recaps covering the show Citadel. It's a god-awful show, but hear me and my co-host Marissa Garza tearing it down every week, on our show on Post Show Recaps, so check that out. Recently, I was also on Post Show Recaps at a Post Show Recaps theater on one of my favorite film franchises, where I came on with Grace and Ariel to talk about the movie Fast X and the Fast and Furious franchise as a whole, pretty much. I had a lot of fun
I hung out with
talking about
Ariel yesterday.
So I had a lot of fun doing that. So check that out if you want. If the Fast franchise, if you like it, if you don't like it, I think you'll have fun either way. So yeah, that's it for me right now. What about you, Aysha?
Yeah, you can follow me on all social media at Aysha like Asia. That's AYSHA like ASIA. Big Brother Canada is over. Survivor is over. So this is all I got until we start the ultimatum this weekend. So we'll be back talking about the ultimatum, queer love, with Mary Kukowski and Dr. Evie Jagoda. Like I said, I've already watched this week's drop of episodes. It's really good. If you're just looking for a show and you enjoy dating shows, check it out. It is very you will definitely have thoughts. And so join in on the conversation. I've already seen some TikToks about it. I haven't really explored Twitter yet to see what people are saying. But I am very curious what people are thinking. And so it's definitely shaping up to be a very interesting season. They've already covered a lot of ground in 4 episodes, so that's been great. And then, yeah, anything else that I'm up to, you could definitely catch me on Twitter. And I was in New York this week for the Survivor finale, so there are pictures coming out left and right. So make sure you go catch those. I posted on my Instagram pictures of all of the Survivor players I've met, and so you can catch that out in my highlights if you miss it on my story. But yeah,
over under 250 on the pictures.
Who see, because when I take a picture, I do take multiple because you got to have options. Like when I met Carolyn, we took good pictures, but then one of the off guards was the best picture, and that's the one I tweeted.
What are
So
the off guards? So,
like a
the
yeah,
selfie
it's
lingo.
like like when you
like a candid. Is that what that
sure.
is? Am I speaking old timey to you right now? A candid?
Yes, you are. Yes, you definitely are. Let's see. 1, 2, 3,
Oh, that's
4,
a real
5,
good off guard
6,
right
7,
there.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Are you going to count every single one of them would be here all night?
24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Let's say 40 times 3.
I mean, that's not bad
So
for you. That's not
it's
bad
like
for you.
120.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
have assumed a lot more than that. Okay,
There we go.
You really just held yourself. I guess your memory might be running out. I don't know on your phone.
Right. Hey, for 24 hours, pretty much.
Especially for the amount of people that were there that you could have gotten pictures with.
Right. Exactly. I didn't even get to see everybody. I'd say the one person that comes to mind is like Shuby from The Circle. Never got to catch up with him.
I'm sure a good like 10 people know who that is listening to this podcast.
No, everyone did that. He was always talking to someone. That's the only reason I didn't get to say hi. But yeah, if you've watched The Circle, you know Shuby. Anyway, catch us next week talking about episode 22. 22. And thanks for sticking with us.
Chucking up the deuces like Kirsten.
Right. Bye.